Okay, this is an addendum to Tragedy and Hope, Part 10. And we're going to start with some definitions, hopefully to bring clarity to the text. Because in Tragedy and Hope quickly talks about capitalism and what capitalism is. And in the last section, we went through the different aspects or the different stages of capitalism. So we're going to go a little bit more deeply into depth about this. Okay, the first definition is commercial capitalism. And seeking profits by moving goods from a place where they are less valuable to a place where they are more valuable. And then this is what we call merchant trade, where they took the excesses from one area, say in the manorial system, the feudal system, and they took the excess food, excess spices, excess production from trade, say like weapons or say like even wheels or whatever, and they shipped them to a place where they're more valuable. And then on the return, they use that to buy things from other areas, and then ship them back to where they came from. And that's they made after they counted up their transportation costs and the cost of the goods, they made a profit, and a very good profit, from taking goods from one place to another, from a low price area to a high price area. And we're going to see that when we talk about goods and money. So mercantilism is a form of commercial capitalism that grew out of commercial capitalism, where profits are not gained from the movement of goods, but the restriction of movements of goods, thereby controlling the price. We're going to see that later. When to keep their profits high, the commercial capitalist or the trader found out that if they didn't control it, they could, they would slowly start to lose their advantage, lose their profits, or lose their margins. So they tried to figure out how to control this process so they could keep making money. Okay, here's a great definition, about money and goods, money and wealth. Okay, goods or wealth that you have, which is an asset. Okay, it's something physical, whether it's labor, whether it's land, whether it's an asset, a house, whether it's something that's produced. It is wealth that you have. It's something solid that you can put your hand on, that you could use. That's what goods are. And said money is a claim on it. It's a mechanism for trade. It's a mechanism for transferring wealth from one person to another and vice versa. It's a claim on wealth. It's a debt. So prices, this is the value of goods expressed in money. In other words, money, like the text says, money and goods are opposite things. One is used to express the value of the other. So how do you equate the value of the goods? You have to have an index. You have to have a measure, and money is a measure of what those goods are worth on a market. It said value, the worth of money expressed in goods. If you have a $20 bill or a $10 bill, you express that bill or that money in what you can actually claim with it. I remember when I was a child, we used to call what they call a penny candy. Okay, 1 penny will get you 1 piece of candy. So you equated a penny, which is money, with the value of what you could actually purchase for it. If you have a dime, you get a better piece of candy, a bigger piece of candy. And that's how we equate what the worth of money was. It's expressed in what you can actually claim with that money. Okay, we're going to go in. This is commercial capitalism. Okay, as it was stated in the definitions, commercial capitalism is taking goods from a high-priced area, money from a high-priced area to a low-priced area where the money was worth more. That's just naturally. Money flows from a high-priced area to a low-price area. That's the natural flow because the money can actually claim more in a quote-unquote low-price area where money is short or money is worth more. And since we know that money and goods move in opposite directions, what would you say that goods do? You're exactly right. Goods flow from a low-price area where the value of the goods is less in money to a high price area where there's more value. You can get more value. You can get more money for that good. And commercial capitalists make money on this movement. They make profits on this, basically what they do, they buy low and they sell high. That is the stock market. That is the essence of capitalism, buying low and selling high and making a profit. So this went on for quite a long time of making a good profit. But the thing is that these two things eventually will balance out. And that's the whole thing about economy. Okay, when you have, when you have, as the supply of goods build up, whether it's spices or whether it's, and nowadays tennis shoes, basketball shoes, whether it's clothing, as the supply builds up, it tends to drive the price down. So where these two areas actually start to meet, where the more money that flows into a low price area, then it has a tendency to be able to claim less good, be less effective. So these two things eventually will balance each other out. So as good old capitalists, what do? What would you do? Okay, you want to maintain what? Profit, because capitalism is a system that seeks profits. So what do? How do you keep your profits high? You invent what you call a system of mercantilism, where the normal flow of of money going from a high price area to a low price area, and goods going from a low price area to a high price area, unrestricted to where they balance out. The mercantilist sits in the middle, and they control the flow of money and they control the flow of goods. How do they do that? They restrict the supply coming from a low price area to a high price area. We know them as monopolists. They control the supply. And eventually what they learn to do as bankers and as bankers and other kind of cartels, they suppress the supply of money going from the high price areas to the low price areas, keeping wages low, keeping money restricted, and they were able to not only maintain but increase their profits. You see a lot of that today. You see that with Nike. They're mercantilists. You see that with Japan. You see that with a lot of economic mercantilists shipping or offshoring their production to low price areas where they can take advantage of the wages, and then coming back and restricting trade, but selling that supply in a high priced area. And they're able to do that by controlling both sides. They control not only the money going into the low price area in the form of wages, but also the supply coming back into the high price area. So that is what a mercantilist is. And that's where the banking cartels came from. From this excess, from the mercantilists, this excess controlling the supply of goods, and then the banking system comes in and controlling the supply of money. So you have two different cartels or mercantilists coming together to form the trade that we have now.